Do now is I'm going to try to show you guys a way that we can fix our cubes. We can just go in and get them to be really, really good. This is like a little bit of a cube chiropractor for us. We're going to start out with a cube that's got a bunch of problems. Okay, that's a cube. And these are our assessment tools, okay? We've got vertical alignment, leg length, and what I call the party hat. So, the first thing that we're going to go in here and check for with this cube is our vertical alignment. And I'm going to do that in red. So looking over this, here's a vertical, and there's a vertical, and there's a vertical. These guys, I have to move them to be perfectly up and down. So if I can get them to just go closer to straight up and down. And I have to say that the outer lines have a real tendency to squash just the way that I've got them going right now. So, okay. One way to check that is to look at the edge of your paper and just compare it and see. Another thing to do is a lot of these things are basically, they're built on parallel line situations. So ask yourself, does it look like an 11? Do those lines seem parallel? Okay, so that's our first thing, to check for vertical alignments, and that'll help this thing a bit. The next thing that we want to check for is to see if the length of our leg is working out. So right here, you see how this front leg is shorter than this back leg and shorter than that back leg. So if you recall 2-point perspective, when you go back to the vanishing point, it always is, you can see, it always is that the further leg is shorter than the leg that's close to you. And so we need to check that out. Now look at, if we go back to the cube that I walked in with, can you see how much longer this leg is? So if I go in and I start shortening it, and now again, this leg is longer. So I want to see what happens if I shorten it. And that feels like it's helping, but maybe not enough. It looks like I might need to shorten it a little bit more. So I'm going to take it up to here and see how that feels. Yeah, that feels a lot better. Okay. Now the last thing that we have to think about is what I call the party hat. And what I'm saying by the party hat is I'm saying that instead of this point heading off and connecting to a vanishing point over there, that what it's doing is it's going like this. So the angle on this line, where this would have been the correct angle, is really, really high, okay? Or perhaps low. But in general, what we run into is that it's too high. So if I check using this line as a reference for that one, and I ask myself, is the angle of this working? Is the angle of the back working with the angle of the front? So you'll notice that the angle of the front is a little less steep than the angle of the back. And if anything, this one wants to, so this one needs to come inward to be much more like the front. So, okay, that's a lot better. Now I'll take this angle and I'm going to compare it with what I have going on over here. And again, my feeling is that I can bring it in. So let's see if I can do this. Oh, I can't. There we go. So that's a much more satisfying cube than the one that we started with. So what you do is you start out with a cube, and however messy it is, you run it through these particular processes, the vertical alignment, the leg length, and the party hat, and you clean it up, and you end up with a cube that's a lot better. Okay? That's our process. Thanks.